Okay, the headlines are screaming about the KOSPI reclaiming 4,200. It looks like a massive green day across the board. But, that's not the real story here. What I'm tracking is the selectivity of this rally. This was not a broad market lift. No, this was a targeted strike.
So on the surface, yeah, you see this really powerful chart, and the public is chasing it, thinking it's a big risk-on signal. But the critical signal, the one that gives us an edge, is finding out where the big money was actually deployed. And that's the insight gap we are here to bridge.
All right, the battlefield is set. The public story is pretty simple. A strong market, green everywhere you look. But honestly, that's just the camouflage. So the KSP closed at 4,220.56. That's a gain of over 2.2%. Look, this isn't just a move, it's a statement. It's breaking through a huge psychological level.
And this is the fuel. A massive net buy from foreign capital. We're talking over 329 billion Korean won just poured into the market. But here's the thing. They didn't just buy the index. They went hunting.
So now we follow the capital. Let's see exactly where it landed, because this wasn't a shotgun blast. It was a sniper shot, aimed at very, very specific sectors with a clear global read-through. The first major destination for all that foreign cash? AI hardware. Specifically, the linchpin of the memory supply chain, SK Hynix. This is our first major clue. Now, the catalyst here is absolutely crucial. A local investment warning on Hynix had just been lifted, and foreign funds used that exact moment of restored liquidity to aggressively re-enter. You have to see what a massive tell this is. It basically confirms the market believes the correction is over and that the global shortage of high-bandwidth memory is still critical. And the impact? A 5 to 6% surge. This was not just some relief rally. No, this was a confirmation vote from the deepest pockets on the planet. So here's the connection that really matters to us. If the core HBM supplier in Korea is being bought this aggressively, it's a huge signal that the command centers back in the US, I'm talking NVIDIA and Micron, still have immense pricing power. This is a direct, positive signal for US hardware tonight.
But the capital didn't stop with AI. The second major target was the defense sector, with Hanwha Aerospace sitting right in the crosshairs.
And here's the hard data, a confirmed 5.8 trillion won export contract signed with Poland. This isn't a promise, it's not a projection. It is a signed deal. It is locked-in revenue. And this really reveals the core thesis, which is a pivot to what I call proven growth. See, in this kind of high-valuation environment, liquidity gets picky. It's rejecting stories and hope, and it's concentrating only on companies that have a calculator-ready backlog. The global link here is just as direct as it was with semiconductors. Hanwha's massive deal confirms that NATO defense spending is moving from just pledges to actual execution. This is a direct bullish indicator for U.S. contractors like Lockheed Martin and RTX, and it suggests their own backlogs are about to expand. So all this intel from the Asian session gives us our tactical plan for tonight's U.S. market. We've got clear objectives and, lines in the sand for both the bulls and the bears. All right, write these down. Here are your levels. For the bulls to confirm this signal, NASDAQ 100 futures have to defend 25,693 and push for a breakout above 25,830. The trop? The bear case? That gets triggered if the 10-year Treasury yield spikes above 4.2% or if the NASDAQ breaks below its key support at 25,275. That would invalidate everything we saw today. Okay, it's time for the final intelligence briefing. This is what you need to be watching as the U.S. market comes online. So here's your watch list. You're watching NVIDIA and Micron for that semi-confirmation, and you're watching Lockheed Martin and RTX for the defense correlation. The key action item is to monitor the U.S. Open. If you see those defense stocks gapping up in sympathy with the Hanwha news, that confirms a powerful global sector rotation is in play. So the smart money has made a very clear, very targeted bet over in Asia, and it's favoring proven earnings in AI hardware and defense. The question now is pretty simple. Will Wall Street follow the signal? Stay sharp.